Good evening, Super League fans worldwide. The season may be on its hiatus, or words that different people around the world say. I don't know why I chose the American one of all sayings, but never fear, the content doesn't stop. I'm here. I'm going to be joined by Midlothian manager Iain, his assistant, the legend that is Rocks. I'm sure the cat will bite me halfway through, as he traditionally does. All the usual best bits are here, and we're going to be speaking to a number of managers throughout the next week or two, discussing their teams, the season so far, and the second half. If I say good evening, Iain.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Fife. How are you?
Very well, thank you, pal. Yourself?
Oh, not bad at all.
Good, and hopefully we're now joined by Mr. CM on the Rocks himself as well. Good evening.
How we doing? Gaffer, Fifey, good to see you. And nice to see our cat's arse as well.
Yes, yeah. Bobby loves the camera. Funny story about the cat. So we called him Bobbit, as in B-O-B-B-I-T, because it's the word that my lad associated with him when he was young and couldn't talk properly yet. But once we had to go to the vet, and my wife's name at the time, before we were married, her maiden name was Moore. So the vet assumed his name was Bobby Moore.
Very cute.
How are you, pal? Are you okay?
I'm great, mate. I'm great.
Good. Shall we get down to business, chaps, and talk all things Midlothian CM0102 Football Club?
Let's do it.
My first question, if I may, and we'll start with the gaffer, I think it's only fair, is let's discuss Sunday's game. What did you think of the result? Were you pleased in the end?
In the grand scheme of things, I think so, because we were utter dog poo, if the truth be known. But I think a point of Iain is a reasonable result. As I say, we're perhaps a bit lucky, but as has been the kind of the pattern of the season, we've just been grinding out results, and that's kind of been our forte. Just not played particularly well, but just managing to get a result. And I think a point in Sweden is a good result, I would say. So I, on the whole, pretty happy.
Without question, I think everyone says anything you get against Valen is a very good point. But as you've mentioned it, I would like to touch on the level of performance. You were, I suppose it's fair to say, criticised for defensive-looking tactics. It wasn't an all-guns blazing Midlothian that we've been used to, but that's the second game running now where you've not been, what should we say, at your most dazzling best. Is that a new style you're looking at to grind out the results, or is it just because of the players that are available at the moment? I
think mainly partly due to the opposition. We went maybe a bit more offensive against Ardsley and got burnt, so we decided to perhaps go a little more defensive and out the opposition, which Valen are normally extremely strong at home. We thought maybe just go a little more defensive because, as I say, going all guns blazing away from home isn't normally a very good idea because you're going to get burnt. And we have been burnt before, so we thought we'll go a little more defensive. And when you've got Vieri and back and players like that, we are capable of nicking a goal. It's maybe a bit dangerous, but it seems to work for us. And I wouldn't say we're a defensive side per se, but we do like to keep a solid at the back. We've got a great defence, and we're always liable to nick a goal. So I think when you travel to Sweden and places like, you've got to be a bit more mindful of their potent attack, and it just seems to be working at the moment. So again, we're just delighted with it. And Neil, if we speak to you on this, as we sit at the halfway point, if you like, or the winter break, you sit third in the table, 3 points off top, 9 points crucially from 7th. Do you think you've already pretty much secured that playoff place, and is the top two
the target now.
Yeah.
just yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. The thing is, me and Iain spoke at the start of the season, and he obviously got into the stuff last. He got into the playoffs last year, and then Magnus Hedman screwed him. And our view was we wanted to get back in the playoffs, but this squad, and you can look at it and you can pick it apart, and you can go, "Oh, I don't fancy him. I don't fancy him." I reckon this is probably one of the best team units in the league. Just in terms of even just looking at the additions we've made, both 20 for teamwork. They're a bunch of hard workers. And when you've got someone like Vieri and someone like Back who have the ability to conjure something out of nothing, then all you need to do is build a solid base and things will happen, which is exactly what we've done. So in a way, I'm a little disappointed to be in third. I would have liked to have been in top two, but Ardsley had that run of form. Churchtown seem to be, I mean, they're they strike me as a bit of a Tasmanian devil. Like, they're flailing about. You never quite know what's going to happen. It's just going to involve goals. But yeah, I mean, without jinxing us here, I think we're in the playoffs. Like, it would take a massive fucking fall away. Like, you need Vieri, Back, Given, Dojaj, all to get like coronavirus for us to fall down, is my view. I think the thing is as well, there's been some stuff kind of levelled at us about what I'm doing tactically. Like that BTEC result 2 weeks ago, that was my fault, because that's the 1 week that Iain's gone, you know what, you have free reign. And that nearly went terribly. So, but the thing is, we're talking all the way through the week, bouncing stuff back and forth, whether it be player instructions, whether it be team instructions, formations, whatever. We change it every week depending on who we're playing. And that's where I think we're ahead of the curve. How many people have changed things as often as we have, even just minor tweaks? You see the DMs being moved about, the CM changing and stuff. Makes a difference.
I'll just go on record here on a couple of things that have been said there. I got absolutely crucified for changing it every week, because unlike you, it wasn't working for me. And as for Churchtown, I agree. I think we got absolutely bollocked by them the other week. I can't remember what I finished, 15-0, something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But I went with my now infamous 5-0-5, because I said everyone else in the Super League is scared shitless of Churchtown because of what they're capable of. And they are capable. They've proven they're capable. But everyone else is like, oh no, let's retreat and hope we can get a point. A bit like they do against Valen. There's this mystique about Churchtown that they could rip you apart. Whereas I was like, hey, I'm bottom of the league. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to try and do something. Now, yes, it went sensationally wrong. And you know, much like yourselves, like my respect towards you guys, I love Kieran to bits and what he's doing at Churchtown. But I think everyone needs to grow a set when they play Churchtown and say, do you know what? All the teams in this league should be relatively equal, and go after teams like Churchtown and go after teams like Valen and prove that they are just as good.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a fair point. I mean, the point I would make is, I think as far as I'm aware, we haven't lost when we've scored first. And that's part of the reason we've been successful, is we've been able to get a goal and our defence has been extraordinary. And that's the thing, against Churchtown, you nick a goal first, you just never know. And that's the thing, the way that we are set up, I don't care if people call it negative, we're set up to get results.
No, I get that. You've mentioned in your previous bit there, Given, you've mentioned fans' favourite Archie Back. You've mentioned possibly the most underrated player in the Super League, Dujaj. All three of them made team of the season so far a couple of weeks ago. You two, more so Iain, in fairness, so I'll come to you on this one, have kind of built this story around Midlothian about how it's everyone against us. Nobody likes us. And yet 3 of your players make team of the season. If I remember rightly, you're the only team that had 3 players in team of the season so far. So is it just a story that nobody likes you? Or do you think that's just deserved for the season you've had so far?
I think what my gripe, could you say, was that at the start of the season, who would have said that we were anywhere near be third in the table at the moment. Nobody even really said we were nailed on for the playoffs, to be honest with you.
True.
So we kept getting results. We kept winning. We went on that 6-game unbeaten run, and there wasn't really that much credit given to myself and the Rocks. So that was my main gripe, shall we say. And the performances that like Duljaz and stuff. I mean, it was always Cafu this, Cafu that, but Duljaz has been consistently the best right back in the league by some distance, in my opinion. Archie Back has been phenomenal, as has Shea Given. And I just felt that they weren't getting anywhere near the credit they deserved. And that goes for myself and Rocks as well. So I was just a bit, I mean, everybody was praising other managers and stuff, and we just didn't seem to be getting the praise that I felt we deserved. So that's how we highlighted it. And I think we've shouted that much that now people have begun to take notice, and the three of them quite rightly deserve to be in team of the season so far. And Vieri was maybe a bit unfortunate because he did tail off a bit. Sorry, Vieri could have potentially been there as well, but I think we're getting credit now, but we thoroughly deserve it. I think it's not undeserved.
It's interesting you mentioned, because my next question was actually going to be, was Vieri unlucky not to make the team?
I think, but in all fairness, I think the three was a bit fair. But Vieri, I mean, he had a couple of bad games, and there is other top quality strikers in the league, so it could have been a bit unfortunate. But I wouldn't be complaining too much about his omission. But I think he will be up there in the goal scoring charts come the end of the season. But he had a couple of poor games, and we were going to drop him if truth be known. But he came back there and got the double at the weekend. They got us the point, so we're pretty happy with him.
Neil, as you know, despite the story that no one likes you, I think I'm probably Midlothian's biggest fan. Every week, whether I'm on comms or Twitter, I'm waxing lyrical about what you guys are doing. I've been very lucky to be given a selection of stats about players to help formulate some of the questions here. One thing I wanted to ask is, when you look at your team in comparison to some of the other teams that you'd expect to be challenging, are you very heavily reliant on just Vieri and Back to score the goals? Or is it a case of you've got two out-and-out goal scorers? Of course, they're going to naturally score you the goals. Because I noticed that they've got, I think it's something like 8 and 6 between them, something like that. And then your next highest has got 2.
I think that partly comes down to the system that we're playing. So that was one of the things that we looked to, I guess, address in the transfer window. Just because it's pretty obvious. It's the Back and Vieri show a lot of the time. But the thing is, we're playing Ortega behind Vieri in that kind of 2 attacking midfielders. And Ortega's got 4 assists in 7 games. Like, he's operating brilliantly. Gattuso's got 4 as well. So we're creating stuff from deeper, and that's the way that we're set up. But that's also part of the reason we brought Petkovic in. The way that we see Petkovic is, we're hoping that he can essentially be back Mark 2. He's a bit more direct than Ortega. He can take a set piece. He's very mobile. So we're hoping that potentially he can have a bit of a back impact. Let's say get 5 goals between now and the end of the season. But otherwise, the way that we've played defensively, we don't need to score a huge amount. And everyone, you know what, watching Churchtown play is great. They've got 5 guys scoring 7+ goals or whatever. Aye, very good. But unless you win the trophy at the end of the year, who's going to give a monkeys? So that was part of the reason for bringing in Petkovic. And it does look like we're a little bit reliant. But then you look across the team and, I mean, we've got relatively consistently good ratings across the board. Like, I would say, arguably, actually, we're almost more reliant on the performances of the wing-backs, because Carlos and Duljaz are both averaging. Duljaz is on 8, Carlos is on a 7.45. We're as reliant on them as we are the goal scorers, because they set the tone out wide. You see the other wing-backs playing in the league, like your Zambrotas and your Zauris and stuff. None of them. The only one who's got the better of us was Bauma. And that was when we were playing a slightly different system. But otherwise, no one's beaten us out wide. And that's been key to the run that we've had.
I'm just going to throw in the tactical genius that is yours truly managed to keep Bauma very quiet when we played them a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, he's done fuck all since he played us. Frustrating as anything. He was like a one-man army against us. He even crossed the ball for bloody Mark Curtis score. which is like the fifth sign of the apocalypse. And fucking, then he does nothing for weeks.
Well, sticking with something you've said there, the next section is kind of looking ahead and what's to come. And the first thing is the new signings. So you've already mentioned Petkovic. You've also, if I've got this right, is it I'm going to get this wrong. Varlamov?
Oh, very good, very good. Yes, it's Evgeny Varlamov.
Tell us why these two particularly. Were they your first choice?
No. I think so. Was it Monday night that we were doing this, Iain? That we were just having the back and forth on this?
Can you repeat that, Rock? Sorry, somebody's trying to phone me and it keeps muting me.
So I think it was Monday night that we were. So we had our targets lined up for weeks, right? We had a short list of 3, and then we realised that there was only 2 additions allowed. So we shortlisted that down to 2, and one of them was to strengthen the wing-back positions, and one of them was to strengthen up top. As it happened, the 2 targets that we went for, one of whom I revealed on one of my streams was Bome from Schalke. Both weren't interested in moves. So, I mean, do you want to describe what Monday night was like, Iain? Oh, I think he's frozen. I think someone's trying to ring him again. So we had about 2.5 hours, if not 3 hours, of back and forth, just looking across the different leagues. And initially it was looking at your Italys, your Spains and stuff like that. And the feedback that's come out across the league is you can't get players from there mid-season. Like, you got to struggle at the end of a season, never mind middle of the season. So we're gradually
barbecues.
Aye. So we're gradually looking down the leagues, and we got to kind of your Portuguese, Russian, Brazilian, all those kind of tiers. And we were looking through, and Varlamov or Petkovic was one that we were both aware of, and it was just a question of exactly how good he'd be. Varlamov was a little bit more of a punt, but you know what? He's the key thing for me and both of them is teamwork 20, because that fits in the ethos of the side. They both got decent right hand columns. Love a right hand column.
You did?
Yeah, they fit the bill for what we need. We needed cover in the wing back position on the left hand side, and we needed something more up top, and that's what we've got. So happy days.
Iain, are you back with us?
He appears to have dropped off at the moment.
Hang on, I think I can fix that. Hopefully he should be back.
Yeah, I can see him there.
Dreadfully sorry.
That's all right. So we've spoken, Iain, we've just spoken about the 2 players coming in. I'm going to throw a couple of names at you because we're in the looking ahead section. Are these players playing for their future? Okay, so the names I've got here. Emil Mpenza, widely regarded as one of the best strikers, played last year, conceded 5 goals in 2 games this campaign. Vulgaris, Venetidis, Comandini. 0 appearances between them so far this season.
I kind of got a thing with there. Is this, you're asking me who's still got a future at the club? Is that right?
I'm asking if you heard the 5 names I gave there.
I think I got Venetidis, Vulgaris, Mpenza, Comandini,
and Hedman.
And Hedman. Mpenza.
Are they playing for their futures in the second half of the season?
I thought there's a few of them that I would let go. Vulgaris, you've even bringing in Karlstrom, and I think Karlstrom's away already actually. And Mpenza, for me, I like him. Our number 2 isn't a huge fan, but I think that he's definitely got something to offer. And even if we haven't seen him as a number 1, he's a huge bargaining chip, as me and the Rocks have spoken about many times. I think he will be seeing game time just to get his goals up a bit, just to maybe give his stock a bit more oomph, as it were. So he's definitely got a future. The other guys you mentioned, Hedman, Vulgaris, I think would be quite quite willing to let them go. We obviously need some backup, but we were speaking about the foreigner rule. I don't know if you spoke about that when I was away, but we've got a wee bit of an issue with the foreigner rule. I know there's like, I think it's a maximum of 3 in the matchday squad, so we're kind of creeping up a bit there. So the likes say Felix Jaete, isn't he? I wouldn't imagine he's going to get in ahead of Hoffland and Kloppy, so he's another one that we maybe be prepared to let go. But the guys you mentioned, that they're not conceivably going to be getting first team unless we had a massive injury crisis. So they're not certainly off limits for anybody inquiring or that. They're on the table, definitely.
Leading on from that, we're obviously at the halfway stage, more or less, and you've had your 2 transfers for this window. We don't know what the rules are going to be put in place for a transfer window in the close season, but are you already formulating ideas of what sort of players or what sort of areas you will want to improve for next season?
Absolutely. I mean, this is more Roxy's territory. He's done an unbelievable job in the transfer market. I mean, the signings that we brought in, they were genuinely like our 5th or 6th being kind. We went through a barrel load of guys and nobody wanted to come to the league. So credit to Rox on getting and bringing the guys to attention and actually getting them done, because I was losing the will to live. Like Rox will tell you, I was fucking flapping. We were nobody. I was just thinking, this is fucking disaster. The guys we managed to get are solid, and their stats in the Super League save are spot on. Like, I'm really impressed. The Rocks, we've got targets already. Some we're maybe going to try and revisit, but the Rocks has got a wee black book there, and he just pulls stuff out the hat. He's got a tremendous knowledge of the game, so I've no worries about any future windows. Like, he's got that definitely taking control of.
I think the problem you gentlemen have, and as I've said, I'm massive fans of both of you, but one thing you are not is the most talked about manager in Super League history, because, again, not one to blow my own trumpet, but I got my number 1 and number 2 choices for this window because they wanted to play for me.
Well, they were both worse than ours, so who gives a fuck?
We'll see. I bet my forward ends up scoring more than yours does.
Is your forward going to play?
Bring him in, right? Listen, guys, what I'd like to do, and I know you haven't had any time to prep this, so we'll see how it goes. I'd like to discuss now the wider picture. The table as it is now, how do you see the top 2 finishing? Who's going to get top 6 places? Will we get off the bottom? Who's going to win the whole thing? We'll start with the gaffer. It's only fair.
I think we've got as good a chance as any to finishing in the top 2. I believe we will finish in the top 2, and I think the top 6, as it stands, the 6 teams that stay will remain there. I can't see anybody feasibly breaking in. Pools are too inconsistent, and the rest are just that bit too far away for me, unless there's like a calamity, which I can't see. So I think the top 6 as it stands, not necessarily in the positions are in, will be the final standings at the end of the season, definitely for me.
Get off that fence. 1 to 6 in order.
You want an order, right? I'll say Midlothian, Churchtown, Ardsley, Valen, Bolton Phoenix, and Panathinaikos.
Ooh, Neil, are you agreeing with that, or are you changing the 1 to 6?
I'm going to be honest, I'd forgotten half those teams are in the league. I think the one caveat I'm going to put on it is kind of what Iain alluded to. There's going to be guys in our squad, like likes of Impenza, are going to play. There's going to be a little bit of rotation. Once we've confirmed that place, we'll have a little look. I think we'll finish second behind Churchtown. I think it might be Valen in third and Ardsley 4th. And I don't think it will be because Ardsley will fall away massively. I think it will just be because the other 3 of us just fire on. Bolton, I think maybe Bolton above Palmer. The only outlier for me would be Astor, because if this new lad hits the ground running,
the Brazilian guy.
Yeah, I like the look of him. He was one that we kind of had a wee look at, but when you're playing one striker, you don't really need him, eh? But that's the one thing that Astra have missed is goals. And if he hits the ground running, they're not conceding many. They might go on a wee run, but I just don't see any of the others getting in.
Okay, bottom of the league. So there's us. I'm going to try and do this from memory now. A point ahead of us is B-Tech. Then it's Sloths, Hoddesdon, Dragons, I think. Bottom 5 in order. Bottom to, what does that work out to be, 9th?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but the team with no form and who have been appalling, really, and I'm sure he'll not mind me saying this because he knows it's going to be B-Tech, I think, are going to finish bottom because they've got no form. They're just, I can't put my finger on what's going wrong there. I can't explain it. You Fife have picked up massively. I think you won't finish second bottom. I think it'll be Sloths.
This is what
Sloth second bottom, yourselves third bottom, then we're going to have Hoddesdon, then I think we're going to have Dragons, Hools, then Astor. Is that right?
which would put, therefore, Chudley finishing, if I've got that
sorry,
right.
I'll have, I'll go with that. I think.
Finish 7th.
Mid-table's that tight, that's...
Okay. Neil, are you agreeing with that bottom of the table?
Am I meant to care?
It's purely for us minnows to see how much you rate us.
I don't think B-Tech will finish. I think Iain has to get it right between now and the end of the season. I just think he'll get 2 or 3 results at one point. I'm not convinced by Hodds. I wonder whether Rob might just decide to play 5 up front. Like, who knows? I don't know. I don't quite know what he's planning. Who else is down there? I think Dragons will be all right. Astra will be up near the playoffs. Can I say Chudley will be bottom?
You can. I mean, it would take one hell of a collapse, but you can.
Well, can we not get them like deducted points just for being Chudley? I think I'm going to stick my neck out here and say I think that the bottom sides will actually, I think there'll be a couple of sides going a run down there. I think it will be. You're going to hate me. I think it will be yourselves bottom. I think it will be Hod's second bottom. I think it'll be Sloth's third bottom. And then I wonder whether Hools might drop down as well. I know they've got points at the moment, but they're just so erratic.
Okay. Fair enough. You know, that's what I give the 4 and 4. I mean, you're wrong, but fair enough. If we can ask you both 2 final questions. Again, we'll start with a gaffer. What are your hopes and expectations for Midlothian's second half of the campaign? And if it's not you, because it's the only fair way to do this, or everyone will pick themselves that are in the top 6. If it's not you, who wins the Super League this year?
I've got to say Churchtown. There's just something about them, eh? I know Ardsley are hard to beat and stuff, and Valin, but I think Valin have drew too many games, so I would say without even hesitating, Churchtown. I still think they're probably favourites in my eyes to win the thing, to be honest.
And your expectations for Midlothian for the second half of the season? Here's where you can say that you will go and win it if you like.
Well, this is the thing. I was saying to Rox, we'll end up winning the regular season league, like finishing top and then getting pumped in the playoffs or something. I've just got a nasty feeling something that's going to happen. But I'd be more happy to finish like a second and then maybe like win the playoffs. Like last season, I had a good feeling about it if it wasn't for that fucking headman. I had a good feeling we'd beat Churchtown at their place, and then we're running with like 20 minutes to go and we collapse. So I think we've got a good chance of doing well this season.
And just if we ask you the same question, just before I ask Neil the same question, now you've had, you yourself, a year's experience of being in the playoffs, you can see how crucial it is to finish in the top two. Does that experience help you, or not really, given that everyone else, with the exception of CMAC, I think, oh no, Hodgie wouldn't have done either, but most people in there have had that experience of the playoffs?
I think it's, to an extent, it's just another game, really. I think the home advantage thing is a big thing, obviously, finishing first. So I think that is a big advantage, but at the end of the day, it's just really a lottery. It's just another game, but I always prefer being on the left-hand column. So for me, it's just a psychological thing. I always prefer being at home. But in saying that, our away form's been pretty no bad this season compared to last season. It's night and day. So again, I think when it comes in, it's just a one-off game. But I think if we keep our form up, we've not really got anybody to fear in a one-off game, to be honest with you. So aye, good feeling about the season.
And Neil, if it's not Churchtown, who wins the Super League this year?
I
No,
wonder
did
whether...
I say Churchtown? What am I saying? Let me try that again. If it's not Midlothian, who wins the Super League?
Oh, that was a bit of a daft question. I'm like, well, Midlothian. Like, just give Churchtown the title now, why don't you? I know I just said that you'd finish bottom, but you didn't hear it. I was going to say you'd win at least 3 games, and actually the bottom's going to be tough at the end of the season, and it's going to go down to goal difference. But you know what? Give Churchtown the title, Fife. Fine. I don't know. It might be Ardsley, actually. It might be. I think it's possible. I quite fancy Ardsley for the title, actually. I think there's definitely a chance.
And before I ask your expectations for Midlothian before we finish, just hearing that, I have to ask, who do you think does the better impression, your Yorkshire or his Scottish?
His Scottish every day of the week. I was cracking up at that. It was brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
What are you expecting from Midlothian in the second half of the season?
Finish second in the league, win the playoffs. And then me and the gaffer will go on a gigantic bend around Edinburgh, open top bus parade. I will move to Poland and track down Archie back and present him with a giant novelty trophy.
Listen, guys, thank you very much. Good luck for the second half of the season. Hope your transfers work out okay against everyone except us. Neil, when's Atleti goal back on? Is it tonight or later this week?
Possibly tomorrow night. Either tomorrow or Saturday, and then on Sunday, I think we may have a little World Cup of CMO 102 special with Boyce and Finnet. It's being mooted. It's on the cards. It might be happening on Sunday in place of the Super League. You'll find out in the next couple of days.
Looking forward to it. And for the viewers of this, if you've not seen it, follow The Rox' Twitter account, because he's doing a CMO 102 sort of Heroes Legends World Cup poll thing, where you can vote for your favourite players in a knockout World Cup style competition. I've already voted in Group A and B. Some of them are going to be tight, some of them are not, judging by how it's been drawn, but it's going to be a good laugh and an engaged and good conversation. Listen, cheers both of you for coming on. We've already got Chudley Cannons lined up. We've got Bolton Phoenix lined up. We've got Arsey Celtic lined up. I've got to work out how I'm going to do it without just asking myself questions. I've got to work that one out yet. All the other managers are going to get involved somehow, I'm sure. I'm looking at doing some form of transfer special at some point during the lockdown. Plenty of Super League content still to come while there's no games. But thank you guys, and good luck for the second half of the season.
Cheers, Fifey.
Cheers, Fife.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.